Okay, so the purpose of this video is to give you an idea of what your workflow is going to look like in AP Statistics. One of my goals has been to try to get everything sort of in one place as best I can. So I'm going to use Unified Classroom to sort of be that place since everybody has access to it. So I'm going to use Chapter 1 as an example of what it's going to look like. We'll be starting that this week. Usually takes about a week or so, maybe a little bit more to cover a chapter, maybe a quiz or two with each chapter. And you can see your Unified Classroom is not going to be as busy as this. These are not published, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. I'll publish the chapters as we're working on them so that your workspace is a little bit less busy when you come in here and you're looking for something. So the summer assignment, online textbook for extra credit, we've kind of already addressed those things. So if you click in Chapter 1, a couple things you're going to see. Your Reader's Digest notes. Math textbooks, and ours included. I actually feel like ours is a little bit easier to read of a textbook, which is one of the reasons I picked it, but even so, what I have here are Reader's Digest notes. So each section of Chapter 1 are broken down into Reader's Digest notes, and what I suggest is that if we have a quiz on 1.1, read over and study and review the Reader's Digest notes for that section. When we're in class, we won't be reading notes together. Generally, what we do in class is more interactive, like activities or maybe working through some examples and applying concepts, okay? But you want to make sure that you take these PowerPoint slides and read through the concepts, right? We want to know the difference between a categorical variable and a quantitative variable, those types of things. When you hear a term marginal distribution, you don't want to be confused by that term, right? Marginal distribution really just means the total. So when I'm looking at a table like this, marginal distributions would be not breaking down females with almost chance, just, in general, what's the probability somebody has almost no chance, right? That would be 194 out of 4826. Those are what's in your margin. So again, just your brief overviews in the Reader's Digest notes. So before you make sure you read and study these notes before completing your homework and the learning objectives, okay? And then again, it might not be a bad idea to have them open or have them out. If you like to print them, you can do that. I'm not going to give you hard copies of those. Okay, so every chapter is going to have this Chapter 1 homework or Chapter 2 homework and so on tab. Okay, how does that work? And I'm going to click on this, and this is assignment that's in PowerSchool. Right. What I allow for here is that you can take this 2 times. Okay. What I suggest is you take it once on your own and see how you do. Okay. If you don't understand your mistakes or where you went wrong, sit down with me for the second attempt. You're welcome to just stay after school. I'm here till at least 2:35 every day, and this homework assignment wouldn't take us more than 10-15 minutes to look at and troubleshoot and work through together, especially if you already did one attempt. If you already did one attempt, there's only 10 questions on it. You're probably going to have a few questions. Even if you had 10 questions, it wouldn't take us that long to troubleshoot and go through it together. Okay. What I don't suggest you do is, go backwards, figure out what the answers are, and just do it for completion to get the right answers. The problems come from your textbook. They're at the review in the chapter, so you can look up the answers. You can check your answers. The homework assignment is not about getting 100. Of course, I'd like you to get that, and you should be able to get the 100. But it's also so that you get better at the material that we're covering. The way that you do that, and this is just generally in life, is by making mistakes. So if you take that first attempt and get some things wrong, then we can correct them, and it's less likely that you'll make the same mistake again. You correct them. If you just go look up the answers and then put in the answers, sure, you'll get 100 for your homework, but you don't really become better at statistics. So I don't recommend that. I think that's a bad idea and a bad practice. So if you want to get better at statistics, do your first homework attempt after you've read through the notes and worked on the assignments in class. Do the first attempt on your own, see where you're at, measure yourself, and like I said, I'm offering always the second attempt. I'll do it with you, okay? Especially if you're struggling, all right? If you take your first attempt and get 100, great. It means you know your stuff, okay? Keep doing that. Then what we have here are your learning objectives, okay? On the day of the test, all right, on the day of the test, you're going to turn the learning objectives into me. What do they look like? They're also in your textbook, but you have an electronic version of your textbook as well. So when I click on that link, and I'll post these links for every chapter, it takes me right to my learning objectives, okay? If you're in your actual textbook, which you're going to take home, you have a hard copy of it. If for some reason you can't get on the internet, these are at the end of the chapter, okay? There's review exercises. Usually there's about 10 of them, but instead of multiple choice, they're open-ended, okay? Notice what you can do when you do the online version. What individuals does this data set describe, right? So this is going to require some reading and reading comprehension. It's not probably what you're typically used to in math. You know, reading a narrative, sometimes you're reading a whole paragraph's worth of narrative here, right? It's a lot. This is a big difference of what we're dealing with in statistics a lot of times. So what individuals does this data set describe? You're not just writing a number as an answer, okay? Answer it. You're gonna do this with paper and pencil, or if you want to type it up, you're welcome to type it as well, or neatly handwrite it, okay? And on the day of our test, you're going to turn this into me. All your answers to all, you know, however many there are. Usually there's like 10 open-ended questions, okay, for each chapter. But look what you can do. You can answer it, and then you can check your answer, okay? What I don't want you to do here is, click on Show Answer, and then just copy these down on your paper and turn them into me, okay? That's less interesting for me to look at and score. Look, I know these are here, all right? It's not a big secret. I'm telling you they're here. This is so that you can check your work. Write your answer here and check it here, okay? If you get it wrong, write a note to yourself. What I want to see on your work is notes to yourself of what you got wrong or correcting yourself as you go through. So when you do your learning objectives, do them yourself. Click on Show Answer. If you don't have the electronic version of the text at the time, you can just look them up in the back of the book. They're there. But check your answers and take notes to yourself. This is how you get better at this. If you just sit down, copy these answers down, and turn them into me, yeah, you can get credit for your homework assignment, but you're not going to get better at statistics. Okay, the purpose of this is for you to practice and to get better. And the only way you do that is by exercising it that way. All right, so you answer the question, then you click Show Answer and see how you did. Okay, so what this does, when you sit down to take your Chapter 1 test, you've already done it a couple times. You've done the multiple choice questions. There's not going to be any big surprises there. And you've checked your answers, and you've done open-ended questions. So when I give you 10 multiple choice questions and a couple open-ended questions on the test, you're ready. You're well prepared. Okay, doesn't mean you'll always get 100 or get everything right, but you will be well prepared for any test or quiz that I'm going to give you. Okay, and then the last thing you have for every chapter is an online quiz, and I'll post this block here. So some people just get confused because there are several moving pieces here, right? Like you got your homework that's in PowerSchool, and that's like 10 multiple choice questions, and then this online quiz is usually about 10 multiple choice questions, and people start to get confused. This is extra credit. Okay, if you complete this quiz, I will add 5 points to your test grade. You do not have to get 100 on it. Okay, oftentimes I'll have somebody do the quiz like 3, 4, 5 times until they finally get 100. Right? That you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to make sure you get 100, if that makes you feel better, then do that. Again, it's more practice. Okay, the homework is practice and it counts as a grade. The online quiz is practice, but it's extra credit. Okay, so look, here's what happens when you click on this. All right, and I would say, so it's an online quiz. It's questions. You're going to answer them. They're multiple choice. Okay, and then when you get to the bottom, you're ready to finish. You're going to submit it. In fact, I don't even know if you have to click submit. I might not have the same results as you. You can print them if you need to, but just finish the quiz. Once you're, I'm pretty sure I assigned this. Once you're in the class, you can complete this. Now, if you just go through here and check random boxes, which, believe it or not, people do. They just want to get 5 points extra credit, and it takes them about 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. They just go through and they just click the answers because they know I'm only grading this for completion. It's for extra credit. So they go through here and they check the boxes and then they submit it. When I click on my gradebook, okay, there's not going to be anything in my gradebook here because nobody's enrolled in this class yet. Everything's empty. But it gives me your name, score, and it tells me how long you spent on it. Okay? So if this tells me that you are on the online quiz for 2 minutes, you're not going to get extra credit for it. Okay? That's not what this is about. All right? To get the extra credit, I want you to show me that you're doing extra. So that means you took the time, you did your homework, you did your learning objectives, and you took some extra time to practice and do the online quiz. Okay? So if this tells me that you were on here for 2 minutes, well, I know what you did. You didn't really get any extra practice, and that doesn't really merit any extra credit. Okay, so make sure when you do the online quiz, if you want to get the extra credit, that you actually set aside, 10, 15 minutes to sit down and answer them as best you can. And again, troubleshoot. You can spend 20 minutes on it if it, and that will help you more. Okay. Okay, so just to reiterate, pretty much everything you need to track with the course and our workflow can be found right here in our Unified Classroom page. All right, chapter by chapter is pretty much how our curriculum is organized, and there's also a Frappy Notebook tab that'll be over here if you ever need access to that.